Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Revelation Communication Current Events. Today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. And man, I got a few things I want to get to today. So let's strap in and get going. The first thing I wanted to talk about with you is Assembly Bill or AB 2223, or what is being referred to as the infanticide bill or infantcide bill. So yesterday, this bill passed in the assembly here in the state of California by a vote of 7-2 with one abstention. Of course, all the Democrats voted yay. All the Republicans, with the exception of one, voted nay. Really, the Republicans are outnumbered 7-3 as it is, but the bill passed nonetheless. And basically, what this bill is, this is a bill that allows for the killing of babies even outside of the womb without any criminal charges or prosecution being brought up, in some cases up to a year old. Now, this bill does have a couple of more obstacles that it needs to get through. It needs to go to the Senate, here in California. It needs to be signed off on, etc. But seeing as similar bills have already passed and exist in other states, and quite frankly, as sad and pathetic and as evil as the state of California is from a political perspective, this one's probably going to pass too. Now, the term perinatal is at the center of the controversy of this bill, because the term perinatal would need to be interpreted by a court. But basically, the term perinatal means it's the time period of when you become pregnant up until a year after giving birth. And what this bill looks to do, this bill looks to give the parents or the parent the right to kill the baby at any time in the perinatal period, where there will be no criminal or civil liability for the mother or those who assist her with killing her baby post-birth. Now, here's what's so sad, pathetic, and alarming about this, is that for years, the abortion industry would support the argument that a baby isn't a real baby until it is born. They've referred to it as just a clump of cells. That has been the abortion industry's argument since day one, that in the womb it's just a clump of cells. It's not a real baby. Well, now the abortion industry is stretching the boundaries of that up to 1 year old. And it's vile and it's disgusting. And the moral of the story is, boys and girls, the taking of a life, whether from the womb or even outside of the womb, is murder. And if you disagree with that, well, let me just say that your moral compass, if you even have one, is pointed in the wrong direction. Why? Because I would suppose that you would be against me taking my child and offering them up to a god or to an idol as a sacrifice by burning them in the fire, by letting my kid pass through fire, being burned as a sacrifice to a false god. I would bet that you would agree that that's morally wrong. I bet you would think it's vile and disgusting if I was to tie down a child on an altar and cut them open, ripping out their insides as a sacrifice to a false god that I worship. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what takes place during an abortion procedure. But yet your moral compass just wants to look away, turn the other cheek, not really look and see what's going on when it comes to abortion. Or even now at the killing of a baby who has been born and is actually living outside of the womb, completely taking away their right to life. You have a demon spirit living inside of you if you believe that and if you support that. Your God is the prince of this world, and you need to own up to that. Abortion is demonic. I don't believe there's any worse demonic activity than the slaughter, the dismemberment, the cutting into pieces of living children inside or outside of the womb. It's demonic. And demons love it. If they could party, they would party every time an expectant mother walks into Planned Parenthood, walks into a clinic offering abortion services, and now even more so that the baby can be killed as it's living outside the room, and the parent and or the people that helped kill the baby would be protected by this law if it passes from facing any criminal prosecution or charges. It's just absolutely vile and wicked and disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't agree with that, then I don't even know what to tell you at this point. In other news, a Trump-era policy known as Title 42, which allowed the United States to expel illegal immigrants to their country of origin, will come to an end as the clown-in-chief has announced that effective May 23rd of this year, anyone and everyone can start to apply for asylum within the United States. Now, a little bit of history behind Title 42. This was put into place as, again, a Trump-era policy at the height of the mass hysteria in 2022 surrounding the government-organized pandemic. And this was used to keep out the potential risk of immigrants bringing the RONA into the country. So basically now, what the CDC and what the clown show are saying is that there's no longer concerned about the health risks imposed on the American people by foreign nationals because the RONA is no longer a thing? Question mark? Is that why we don't need Title 42 anymore? Because the RONA is no longer a thing? But what some of y'all don't want to hear is that new variants and new viruses are coming down the pipeline, and even stricter policies and mandates will be imposed. Guess what? All in time for election season. Wow. Isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that what happened in 2020 when it was stolen, by the way? But I digress. Folks, look what's happening in Shanghai, China right now. It is straight up dystopian in Shanghai, China. I've seen videos of these robots cruising down the street because the entire city is on lockdown. You must stay inside your residence. You must stay inside your building. There's robots going down the street telling people to abide by the mandates, to stay inside, to not go outside. Well, just the other night, it was organized that all these citizens in the city in Shanghai, China, went out onto their balconies and they started singing, they started chanting, opposing these mandates and opposing these laws. And next thing you know, there's these drones that flew in and were telling people to get back inside. They were breaking the law, they were breaking the mandates, they were breaking the curfews. Folks, it is utter chaos in Shanghai, China right now. The people can't get food, the people can't get what they need, they're not allowed to go outside. It's just dystopian. Oh, and by the way, it's going to be coming to a city and a state near you real soon. Mark my words, folks. But back to Title 42. Listen, I don't care who comes into this country. I don't care. As long as they're vetted and as long as they are contributors to society, because that's what really matters in the first place, and no one should have a problem with that. I don't care. None of y'all should care. But don't let these fools fool you about the fact that public health is no longer under threat by foreign nationals. These same fools will soon be putting this country back on lockdown in the name of public health. And speaking of the RONA, the NHS, the National Health Service, has announced 9 new official COVID symptoms to be on the lookout for. Drum roll, please. Starting at number 1 is shortness of breath. Not to be outdone at number 2 is feeling tired or exhausted. They say that 3's company, and so is an aching body as a symptom. Coming in at number 4 is a headache. Now, how many times have you heard that excuse? Rounding the corner at number 5 is a sore throat. The 6th symptom is a blocked or runny nose. If you have a loss of appetite, you've had the 7th symptom. And if you have the cha-chas, that would be the 8th symptom. And coming in last, but most certainly not least, at number 9, if you're just feeling sick, you have a COVID symptom. Folks, listen, I'm not trying to make light of those of us who have actually been sick, who have had the flu, or have felt like absolute trash with some, if not all of these symptoms. The flu is very serious. It's very real. I'm not making light of that. But you know what? What we used to call having the flu or being down with the cold is now being called something completely different that is being used to control the entire planet. And if you haven't caught on yet, it's time to realize that all of these new symptoms are nothing more than what we've dealt with as a society and as a world for hundreds, if not thousands of years. These symptoms have been around forever. So at what point are you going to say to yourself, this is getting a little ridiculous? Folks, because it is ridiculous. And finally, did y'all see how the dude that got 81 million votes, the most ever by a sitting president, was completely shunned and ignored by everyone a couple of days ago when Barry Soetoro, aka Barack Obama, was on the White House movie set? You see how he was shunned and ignored, and he's walking around like a lost kid in a department store looking for somebody to talk to, looking for guidance, looking for help, looking sad and pathetic is really what it was, when all the attention was on good old Barry. We are watching a movie, ladies and gentlemen. We're watching a movie. What you see on the news, what you see from the media, it's not real. The more you dig into that reality, the more you'll find that they're just actors. They're puppets. And the citizens of this country and of this world are spectating the biggest lie ever told. Folks, the truth is out there. It's out there. You just have to want it. Listen, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Solomon Stewart with Revelation Communication Current Events.